What is up, party people? How are we doing today on this beautiful Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern time? Y'all drop in the chats as always, as every single week. Drop in the chats where you're from. We've been having some great referral partner opportunities happen in these chats, okay? A lot of the times we're at duty stations or we know a lot of people at a duty station, okay? So where are we coming in from today? Miss Vicky, where are you coming from? You out there in Fiji right now? Lafayette, okay. Drew's from Cincinnati.
All right. Got
Miss
Lafayette,
Pam.
Louisiana. Love
Where
it.
we coming from, Miss Pam? I see Eric. How we doing today, Eric?
I'm good, Caleb. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, sir. Thanks for asking. Where are you coming from?
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
There you go.
Familiar. Yes, sir. I'm right here with you.
Yep.
Love it.
Right. Give a few minutes, guys, and get these people on in here, and then we will get started with Mr. Jason today. We got something awesome for you guys. Let's see. Alrighty. How's everybody's year going so far? We're getting it's halfway.
Yep, it's halfway mark. We're down. We're
Halfway
done.
mark. All right.
It's up, Caleb. It's up.
Yes, sir. I'm saying, especially shoot in Fayetteville, Fort Bragg area. It's crazy right now.
It is.
It's the beautiful mixture of tons of clients rolling in. Houses are on the market the right amount of time to get the great deals rolling.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If you're buying, you're buying.
Correct. And I think that's part of the military towns always. This is, my 20th year in this market. Trust me, I haven't seen it. We're always recession proof.
Hey,
the VA loan is recession proof.
Amen to that. I know that's right. Hey, they're gonna keep getting sent here.
Regardless, they will come all the time. And I think that's part of the things a lot of our MillNet family members need to understand, that you're in markets that are always gonna survive, no matter what the Great Recession, whatever the new term whatever call it, it doesn't matter, because Uncle Sam always pays.
I know that's
very
right.
true.
All right, guys. So we got about 18 people in here. I'm gonna give it about 1 or 2 more minutes, and we're gonna go ahead and get rolling. Okay. I see Kina in here. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. Like I was telling everybody, guys, drop where you're coming in from. We've been having some really great referral opportunities. We want to make sure we know where everybody's at.
Oh, Hawaii. I want to come work with you.
Exactly.
Are you hiring?
Yeah.
Right.
Come on. We're super busy right now.
I love it.
PCS season.
Columbia.
Exactly. I can
Kansas
imagine
City.
out there.
It's a fantastic barbecue in Kansas City, one of my favorite places.
Yeah, Christine's out on the West Virginia line. Matt's in Columbia, South Carolina. I was actually out at Columbia, Missouri at the beginning of the month, and it was my first time trying Kansas City barbecue. Like, I'm used to, good old North Carolina barbecue. Kansas City's not bad. It's not bad. I can't say it's, as good as North Carolina, but it's
I think everybody that lives where they got the barbecue, they think theirs is the best. Because I live in Texas. So,
yeah. Oh, I'm not even gonna get started with you then.
Yeah. So I mean, there's literally like a mile from my house. There's a guy who started a little barbecue place that's won the Texas Pitmaster contest twice.
Really?
Twice.
Wow.
Yep. And for me, he has smoked bologna every Saturday. So I give me a smoked bologna sandwich.
Can't beat it.
Yeah. I like to eat. I judge all y'all cities by the barbecue you have, by the way.
What's that place called, and what town is it in?
It's in Argyle, and it's called 407 Barbecue.
Okay.
So
putting people on.
He started out in a little shed, like literally he set his shed on a piece of property. and was cooking out with the pits and all that. Now it's gotten a lot bigger, obviously, but it's fantastic. It's not good for my waistline, but it tastes good.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, I could talk about barbecue all day. Don't get me started.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and
My
get things
food.
rolling, guys. Today we got, you see his name, the VA loan boss. We got Jason Stier with the Veteran Community Mortgage. All right, he has decades of mortgage experience, not just mortgage experience, but the VA loan experience is what we're really going to be touching on today, guys. All right.
Yeah.
I would be doing him injustice to say that he's just an advocate for our military personnel and VA loans. He is so much more than that. If you were to ever look at his socials, you'll see that every single day he's providing value to the community, to agents and to our military personnel. Okay. I'm saying, as corny as it sounds, I would say like he's one of the biggest mortgage influencers I've seen, because he's so consistent with it, and his messaging is really not only just unique, but you can tell that he's coming from a place of true value. He really wants to help military. Okay. Yeah. More importantly, he's a husband and he's a father. I'm not going to take your thunder too much, brother man. Let's go ahead and get started. I know he's going to be giving us a presentation.
Yeah.
Share your screen.
No, I love that. And I appreciate the words, and I appreciate everybody taking time out of their day, hanging out with us for just a little bit, because what I'm going to share with you is very important. So a little bit about me, just so you know, Caleb mentioned a little bit, but I want to make sure you kind of get a clear picture of what I am and who I am. I have been in the mortgage business over 20 years. I've dedicated my entire career to serving the military and veteran families. For personal reasons, I am not a prior service member. I may talk like one, but I was raised in a family of them, and that's where it comes from. And I've seen my own family's personal uses in this benefit when they did not use it. They did not apply for disability benefits and things like that. So the VA home loan is a conduit. Right? There's so many things that can spread out from that, but we got to understand it, because what you would think, there are 50,000 VA approved lenders in the country, literally 50,000. Not many of them understand the benefit at its highest level. And that's a fair statement. And most of them that are honest with themselves would admit that. So what I want to try and make sure that I try to do for you is not only share some of these updates and guidelines with the VA appraisal process that happens starting May 1st. Some of you probably are aware of some of those things, but we're going to get into that a little bit. But also what I want to share is the fact that how do we leverage that? How do we leverage it with buyers? How do we leverage it with potential listings that we're setting in front of? That's how we use this guideline information to be able to win clients and bring those veterans and military families into our ecosystem. Because, Caleb, you guys that have spent any time in this community, there's a lot of people out there that may not have as pure as intentions as you have. They are purely capitalist, and they will do everything they can just to make a dollar. Now, I love money too, but I will never sacrifice my integrity or this benefit to make a dollar, period, ever. Right? I didn't earn the benefit. It's not up for me to decide. My job is to be kind of shepherd them through this. And that's how I've built my business and how I've taught people throughout the years. So what I'm going to share with you today is, there we go. All right. Can everybody see that? All right. Perfect.
Yep. Everything looks good. Everything
All
looks good.
right, cool.
And really quick. I apologize, Jason. Guys, if y'all have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat.
Yes.
Or if they're pressing, like you feel like it really pertains to the topic, go ahead and throw them out there. Okay. Jason said throw as many questions as we possibly can if you need some clarification. I apologize.
I want this to be conversational, right? I want to hear your stories. If it's something that help might everybody on this call, maybe I learned something. Trust me, I learn things every day. I do not know everything, right? The one thing that I have learned a long time ago is I stay in my lane. You have yours, right? That's why we work together.
And that's
I
a big
am not
distinction.
a real estate agent. I've seen 10,000 contracts. I do not want to write them, right? That is not my gift. Okay. So I want to hear your stories and questions. Please stop us. I'm all good with that. Okay. So we're going to talk about the NPR changes. We're going to talk about some other fees that changed in a rule that's pretty important in my opinion. We're going to talk about Tidewater ROV just a little bit and some best practices, right? Not just the best practices that go along with these things, but how to leverage this with potential buyers. And even if you're a listing agent, it all applies. Okay. So we're going to get into this just a little bit. One thing that I want to share with you, except for those of you who are driving, so don't do this if you're driving, obviously. You can scan this QR code. This is an app that a friend of mine created, spent his own money doing it. He leveraged about probably a dozen active duty military members, plus those of us in the community that he trusted to help him with this content. This is the only VA loan app dedicated to the VA home loan in existence. It has so much information for your clients in it, and it keeps them in an ecosystem that allows them to not go to Google and get misled by some sales tactic. Okay. The key is to keep them in the ecosystem. They can schedule time to chat with me on it. They can look at websites. They can have videos and locale information, BAH, BAS, all of it is in this app. Okay. So download that free, no paywalls, no upcharges, none of that crap, totally free. We do not charge veteran or military families for it. Okay. All right. So to me, I look at the last time there was a handbook change was 2019. Okay. Right before the world fell apart. Okay. So this is an actual handbook change. This is not a VA circular. I get people asking me all the time, hey, where's the circular that changed the NPR rules? There isn't one. Okay. This is a rule change in the handbook, which had to change the code of federal regulation. Okay. So it's very important. It's actually in the 26-7 now. Okay. So there are deals, especially with minimum property requirements, and we'll get into this just a little bit, that have been around since I've been in this business. Peeling paint, detached structures. For those of you that may be able to the East Coast that deal with radon, right? I just locked a deal in Maryland because of radon prior to this rule changing, because the appraisal was done prior to May 1st. It sucks. Just the way it is. But these are very, very important. Okay, and how we leverage this to create content, okay, create influence, create visibility in the military community to attract your target client. Okay, so how many of you, by a show of hands, have gotten blamed before for VA guidelines? Yeah, like we created it. Like I created the handbook and it's your fault that you did not. Right. So these changes, in my opinion, take a lot of that off the table. Okay. They're going to take some of these blame game that we have out there, right? Too many times. We all have. It's your fault. You created the VA home loan. It's your, all this crap that we hear. So we have NPR changes. So minimum property requirements. So for those of you on this and anybody who may listen to it after the fact, if you have not read chapter 12 of the VA handbook, that is your homework. It's 52 pages long, y'all. You can read it with your morning coffee. I know it's not very exciting, but here's what I will tell you. You will learn more about how to apply those things to your job that you do with listing agents, that you do with buyers in that chapter than 99% of your fellow realtors. If you read this chapter and you study it, okay, chapter 12, you will be in the upper echelon of education when it comes to this benefit, because it tells you everything you need to know about properties, about private road agreements, about water tests, about all of those things, about the VA changed the guidelines on private roads, y'all. We don't have to have maintenance agreements anymore. That's huge in rural towns. I've been in outside rural North Carolina, in Texas, in South Carolina, where you have private roads. And I've had deals blow up because they think you have to have a private road agreement in place again. You do not. Okay. We're going to talk about a rush fee. I know, right? That's typically held for conventional loans and conventional appraisals, but they changed the rules. It's very important. We'll talk about that. We're going to mix in some best practices on Tidewater and ROVs. Okay. Because have you guys been experiencing more properties coming in short from or sales prices?
Yes.
I'm doing one right now, and we're doing the ROV right now on it. I had an 815 house, and it came in. So going through it right now, and they're doing all the ROV. Like, that is liquid gold for you guys.
Yeah,
so,
I'm telling you, man.
And
so I'm going to lean on you. Once we get to ROV, Eric, I'm going to lean on you for your experience in this, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. Okay. That is money, y'all. We're going to talk about how to leverage that with your buyers, with your potential listings. If you do not know this process, I promise you, you will leave dollars on the table. Okay? So Corey, we will get you a link to the online VA handbook. Okay? But here's one thing I'm going to give away to y'all, and I don't have it in the presentation, but I just thought of it. So I'm going to send it to Caleb and have him send it to everybody. I created a VA buyer's guide. Okay? PDF format. You can take it. I'll give you the Canva link. If you have a Canva account, I'll give you the PDF. You guys can go in and put your information in it. Because trust me, it's the 26-7, chapter 4, chapter 12, chapter 3, occupancy, 4, veterans, military act, all that condensed into about 20 pages. Okay. So I will give that to you guys. All right. All right. So let's get into this. NPR changes. So number one, and number one on the hit list for me, especially being in Texas, sheds, outbuildings, right? Okay. Prior rule was this. If the appraiser did not give that detached building value, it did not have to meet minimum property standards. Okay. Now the new change, it doesn't matter if they gave it value. If it's detached and it doesn't pose a safety issue to the main structure, no more scraping and painting, none of that crap. Doesn't matter.
So wait a second, really quick. So no more wood destroying insect reports on them?
Nope.
Okay.
Carpenter ants in the state of Texas, right? None of that. No more. Right now, the only time that matters, and look in there and top at 20, right, where that's highlighted. If it poses a safety hazard to the main structure, the appraiser will call it out. Okay. And here's one important thing that I'm going to go over before we get into the rest of this. I'm already seeing appraisal reports with this stuff still on it. Okay. It doesn't mean every appraiser is going to know it. It doesn't, which they should. I know that sounds lazy. They should, but doesn't mean they'll do it. It's up to us to police that and hold them accountable to their job. That's my job. Okay. That's our job as a team. That's what we have to do. Okay. And trust me, we'll go through some of that and I'll show you how we do that. Okay. Give you some ideas for your own business. All right. Peeling paint. This is the bane of my existence. Like literally makes me want to stick my head in a meat grinder. Okay. I would argue with people post 1978. Lead paint does not exist, y'all. Okay. We had one in Oklahoma out by Tinker Air Force Base who the house was built out of hardy board. Okay. Hardy board, y'all, is weather resistant in its natural form. It doesn't have to be painted. And they still wanted it painted. Okay. This is where I go back to. It's our job to hold them accountable to this stuff. Okay. So anything post 1978, no more scraping and painting. No more. If they put it on the report, okay, if it's a loan officer you work with or someone you don't know, you got to hold them accountable. It's just the way it goes. And some people will say, well, it's not my job to do their job. And at a high level, that is correct. But if that loan officer or that company is ill-equipped to deal with this and they don't know, it is your job. We got to hold the standard, y'all. Period. Standards exist for a reason. If we lower that standard, that becomes the new standard. We don't do that. Right? The men and women who've earned this benefit have the right to that standard. Period. Okay? Whether it's loss of life, limb, surviving spouses, whatever it is. Put your ego aside for a second. Let's get the job done. Okay. I get pulled into more transactions that I don't have anything to do with, and y'all got fingers and toes. And why? Because I'll hold people to the standard. I don't care if I'm making money or not. I am a defender of the benefit. That's how I see my role here. Okay. That's why I teach these classes. That's why I do these things, to spend time with y'all, because education is agnostic. Education is the new influence in this world. People are so tired of being advertised to. Use these educational nuggets, and I'll share this presentation with Caleb. He'll get it to you. Take this and create content out of it. Create videos, static posts, emails, newsletters, whatever you got to do. Get this information to the masses. Okay? Not everybody's going to have radon. They removed the radon requirement. Thank God. I don't think anybody's ever died from radon. Now, first thing I say that I'm not a doctor. Don't play one on TV. Y'all don't get me into that. Okay? Then the oxygen depletion sensors, those are old school and older houses. Okay. One of the other things too, so think about some of your older homes that may have open flame furnaces in the hallway. I'm talking old homes, y'all, like 40s houses. No longer a requirement to be vented. No ventilation required anymore, which that's a little weird to me, but hey, I'll roll with it. Okay. I'm good with that. Okay. The key to this, and you may not run into this now unless you've had an appraisal that's been hanging on for a while, but the inspections that were done prior to May 1st with closing dates after are held to the old standard, not the new one. Okay, if you've had 45, 60-day closings, things like that, old rules apply if the effective date of the appraisal is before May 1. That's a hard one to swallow, but it just is what it is. Okay? All right, so let's talk about how to use some of these and leverage some of this with buyers, looking at listing agents, right? So the more you know about Chapter 12, the more you can educate and build value with your clients. Okay, so let's use some of these NPR changes as an example. Let's say that somebody wants to look at an older property. Before, we'd have to tell them, hey, you're going to fix that, you're going to fix this, or you may not even say anything at all. You just wait for the appraisal to come back. The way I look at it is if I'm out with a pop on a property showing a buyer a house, my job is to notice things that may cost them either money, we're going to ask the seller to repair, things like that. Now, look at this strategy. If I'm helping a buyer and I see things on a property that might require, that's a safety issue, right? Or we're going to be sneaky with our leverage in this information. We're going to write into the contract, hey, my buyer's willing to pay $1,000 worth of repairs. And you know damn good well there ain't any. That's how you leverage, because now you're taking notice. Right? So this is how we can leverage things. I've won deals because we put that verbiage in a contract. Knowing dang good and well, there's really not anything that is required. Right? Or if there are things that can be required, maybe we ask for a minimum property require waiver. That's the gold nugget right there. Page 52 of Chapter 12, y'all. Last paragraph, MPR waiver. So if you come across something that is not a safety issue and the appraiser puts it on there, we can ask for a waiver, get it removed. Everybody's a hero. But if we don't know what that looks like up front while we're looking at these properties, we can't leverage that, right? You make a phone call to Mr. Listing Agent. Hey, we're going to make an offer. We're prepared to submit an NPR waiver. If anything that comes up that's not safety related, you good with that? What are they going to say? No. They don't even know what an NPR waiver is. Now, your job is to educate them to bring them across the aisle to us to put another soldier in this camp to advocate for this benefit. That's simple. But if you don't know the rules, you can't play the game. Okay?
I love that. I love that so much, man.
Yeah, I love it. And it's, you know, I mean, from a listing agent standpoint, imagine sitting with a potential listing. You've assessed the home. Hey, there's a few things that we might notice. None of them are safety related. I might mention an NPR waiver to a potential VA offer if we get one. That's simple. Or, hey, we know that they're peeling paint, but it's post 1978. If it's on the appraisal report, we'll have it waived by the VA. We'll have them remove it off the NOV. We're good to go. Right? So it's not about money. It's not about commission. It's not about it. You're adding value to justify what they're going to pay you. And that's what we should be doing, y'all. That's our job, is to leverage our own value. So I put it like this. So I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. There is a gazillion realtors in Dallas, Fort Worth Metroplex. Okay. How are you going to separate yourself from all those other realtors? Even in the military community. Let's take Fayetteville, for example. How are you going to separate yourself? Because don't take for granted that people in a military community know what they're doing. Just because they live in those. I do a lot of business at Fort Bliss, El Paso, San Antonio. out by Tinker Air Force Base, largest Air Force material command on the planet. And I have to lead and educate and talk them through these things because they don't know. And I'm okay with that because they're willing to listen. Right? I'll educate anybody if they're willing to listen. Okay? So don't sleep on the fact that we can educate to add value. Okay? Now, this is a change that is gold if you know how to use it. Okay? We're going to talk about leverage, how we apply it, what are the rules. Okay? Rush fees. They have never been allowed ever in the history of ever on a VA home loan appraisal. Ever. Never. Could never pay the appraiser extra for speed like you can on a conventional loan. Okay? Now, you can do that. It's negotiated by me with the appraiser based on our conversation. Hey, we going to win this deal? Hell yeah, we're going to win this deal. Okay? Maybe your standard turn time's 10 days. Okay? 10 business days. Okay, so let's say we want it in half the time. Maybe that costs just an extra $300. Well, I'm paying the rush fee. The client, the veteran cannot pay for it. Right? This is strategy. Right? It's not just writing a contract. Maybe it's multiple offers. Maybe we want to close in 14 days. I use it all the time. I closed a loan at Travis Air Force Base in California for a buddy of mine who moved from Texas to California. 9 days.
Or competing in a non-VA market that we have to, it's always held against of us. And Caleb knows this. When we go up to the triangle, we have to fight.
Yeah, because it's like your standard is the conventional loan.
Exactly. And they feel like the VA loan has to be 60 days out.
Yeah.
This, that, nope. It's super drawn
So here's
out.
a nugget for you, okay? If you don't do business with me, you should. But if you don't, but here's what question I want you to ask your loan officer that you're dealing with. Or somebody you may not know that may come pre-approved through you, right? Our job is to vet people we bring into our ecosystem, okay? What's your average close time? Simple question. Right? Mine's 21.4 days. 0.4 being the optimum thing, and the 21.4. Okay? It's that way because my process and how I've treated this is airtight. Not everybody operates that way because I'm doing all the heavy lifting up front. Okay? But if you can go to a potential listing agent and go, look, our average close day is 21.4 days. We're going to put a 20-day contract. If you have a financing period, or in Texas, we call it the option period, in finance, whatever that is in your state, right? Due diligence in North Carolina, all those things, right? So what if you had all the work done up front and you could put 0 days in that because the loan's already approved, right? I'm closing in 14 days. Try me. All right? That's my attitude towards it. So don't put some of those questions in place with lenders you might vet with this particular thing. Hey, can we order a rush fee? Oh, you can't do that on a VA loan. Well, that means they don't know the guidelines, y'all. Right? I like to ask a lot of rhetorical questions because I'm trying to feel out what you know, what your process is like, so we can help bridge the gap and leverage each other for the sake of these military families. So rush fees, don't sleep on this. We have to initiate it. We'll take care of it, but that's a conversation we will have in the very beginning on how we leverage that. Okay? All right. We talked about that, competitive deals. We kind of hit on those things. That too. All right, let's talk about Tidewater. So put it in the chat. Has anybody not been through the Tidewater process? Show of hands. Anybody? Okay. All right.
You're lucky.
Like it. I like it. Like it. All right. So this is the absolute gold in the VA appraisal process. As Caleb and Eric and I mentioned earlier, the standard which you're held to is the conventional standard, whether you like it or not. It's been that way for my almost 22 years in this business. Okay.
Yep.
So what I've tried to do is develop conversations, right? When I reach out to a listing agent, if we're making an offer, hey, have you ever been through Tidewater ROV? I don't even know what that is.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you're in good hands because I have 1,000 times. I even wrote a book to help people through it. Just those two things. And I will give that to you too. Okay. It's called the VA Valuation Guide. It talks about ROV, best practices, all of it. Okay. So when the appraiser goes out, does their field work, goes back to the office, starts doing their casework, if they cannot get to your contract price, they initiate Tidewater. Okay. They email the point of contact, which is my processor on my team. Hey, we can't get to this. I'm initiating Tidewater. You got 48 business hours, not weekends, business hours. They'll try to pull a sly one on you and call it at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Then they'll issue the appraisal on Monday, thinking we don't know. Okay. Then you still have your 48 hours. All you got to do is email the RLC. They'll fix it. We go on. Okay. So in that process, very important, we will notify the buyer's agent. Hey, they've called Tidewater. Would you like us to reach out to the listing agent, give them the grid page to be able to fight the value through Tidewater? Yes. Okay. We're going to send them a grid page that we have. Hey, Mr. Listing Agent, they called Tidewater. Please fill out this grid page with your comps, supply us any supporting data when it comes to that. Okay. We'll upload it to the appraisal, let everybody know when they return it. Okay. So here's the key to this, is that appraisers aren't always going to agree with you. They call it an opinion of value for a reason. Now, I've met appraisers that are older than Moses, right? That have been chiseling appraisals on tablets. And they probably need an exit stage left. Okay. Now, doesn't mean I can go change them. My responsibility is to try to help them help us. Okay. My team is set up that way. Now, they typically take typically between 48 to 72 hours to review the comps. If they're not very busy, we'll get it back sooner than that. Okay. So plan accordingly in your timeline. Okay. So once they review them, they are going to deliver the appraisal to us. Okay. They do not give us the value beforehand. Don't ask. I'm not asking. If you ask, they're going to hammer you. They don't like that, and they shouldn't, because you shouldn't do that. Okay. But there's best practices. Closed comparable sales. Try to keep them within the same neighborhood. If you're out in the boonies, obviously that's not going to happen. So you got to dictate. Put your appraiser hat on, CMA hat on. How are we justifying this thing? And that's what we put in there. Okay. Now, when that appraisal is delivered, this is very important. Page 6 of the appraisal is the addendum. The appraiser is required to put why they did or did not use the comps you provided on page 6 of the appraisal addendum. Okay. When the appraisal comes back, we will take a snippet of that commentary, and I'm going to send it to the buyer's agent. Hey, the appraisal came in here. This is the commentary. Let's say we get our value back. Okay. Fantastic. Got it. If we don't get our value back, it's important to see what they viewed in their commentary to know if we go to the ROV portion, which we'll get into in just a second, we're now inside the appraiser's mind. Now we know how to contradict or counteract all the info they put in that appraisal report to set up our reconsideration of value for success. Okay. Now, I will say this, and I say this with a loving heart. Some of y'all price houses like crazy. It just happens. We have to be honest about this situation, right? Did you price this home because your seller wants X, or can you justify the price? Because that could dictate whether you go to the reconsideration of value process or not. Are we just wasting time? Because that's a 4, 5, 6, 7 day process. Now we're eating into closing days and POAs and military people PCSing from overseas. We have to be honest with what we're doing. Okay. But in the event we have that, we go to the reconsideration of value phase. Okay, this is where it's fun, frankly, because you can get down and granular and about that property, about how you priced it, all those things, right? Reconsideration of value is your chance as a listing agent or even a buyer's agent to flex your muscles on how you price that property. Okay. In that scenario, you can get more comps. You can document factual errors, material misrepresentations in the appraisal report, land values, lot sizes, all of it, y'all. This is the fun stuff. Okay. You can type up, remember love letters we used to type during COVID? Type you a love letter. All right, let's go. I even get a letter from the borrower because they have to initiate the ROV process by VA guidelines. So I'm going to type up something real mushy gushy but also present some rationale, right, in there too. So we got a borrower letter. We're going to have a realtor letter. We're going to have a list of all the updates, what they spent. We're going to have comparable sales. Here's the one thing that they changed during COVID that's very important. Used to, you could only submit closed sales that had an effective date after our appraisal, right? ROV allows you to use other factors in there that can be before the effective date of that appraisal because the market's still changing kind of rapidly. Panhandle floor is a prime example of that. It's like price drop, price drop, price drop. It's going crazy. Okay. I think the market is correcting. I don't think real estate's losing value. Okay. That's what we preach. Okay. Local market context, y'all. Y'all are the market experts. You're the local market expert. You're a community connector. Put in there if there are things in your market that are changing rapidly. These appraisers don't see that. That's your job, right? Even my job. Let's talk through that. What's going on locally with new construction or, resales and things like that? Put that in that local market context in this paperwork. Now, here's some statistics for you. Okay. About 56% of ROVs have an increased value with about 7% average of the sales price. Those are VA stats from Terry Roush. Those are not mine. Okay. He's the assistant director of loan guarantee. Okay. Those were taken earlier this year. They fluctuate, they change. I think that number is going to go down, frankly, on successes, simply because I think the market's correcting in a lot of places. Okay. Sellers are still a little bit unrealistic when it comes to certain things. And so are agents, and hell, so are loan officers. We're all crazy. COVID's made it all crazy.
Yeah. So I totally agree with you on that. I've had one last year, and then I've got one going on right now. And we were at 800 was the amount. Actually, Caleb, he's the PwC Utilities CEO. So he was writing his, we wrote it. They came in about 80K below. We wrote the letter. We got it all the way up to 790.
Okay.
And, close that loan. The one I have right now, 815. They came in at 700.
Whoa.
So, yeah. So, and we used in there too, the VA appraiser lives 2.5 hours away from here.
No.
So,
That's
exactly.
crazy.
No.
So we just submitted that one. So we're just waiting to hear back. And I'm on the, on the one side, I was on the buy side for the first one. On this side, I'm on the listing side. And I had to go out, and I'm glad it's ironic, reticular activator kicking in here, because you're doing this class today. We just got everything. I had to reach out to a lender, the lender that's doing his loan in Fayetteville, Georgia, who's an expert at this, to do it. And we're handing it off to the lender and the agent here who had no idea about this at all, but this is like your timing. When I say your timing for this class is impeccable, because we've been fighting on this all weekend, and the buyer loves the home. The buyer wants the home. Both, my guy's a, retired veteran, him and his wife, both retired. We use that 100% disabled, both retired veteran. We lettered that thing on up in there. And the buyer was like, hey, we want it. So we wrote the other lender wrote the letter for us, putting it all together to send it to the lender who has no idea how to do it.
Oh man.
So it
Let's
happens
write
more
this
than you
up.
think, unfortunately. But again, I mean, y'all have seen this. I'm not saying anything you don't already know. Social media has made everybody an expert. If they can put VA loan specialists at the end of their title, right? They're now suddenly an expert. And look, I've closed probably $500 million in VA loans. I'm not an expert. And you know why? Because your client, Caleb may have a client, you know, somebody else, Kimberly, Marie, you guys may, those are all individual thumbprints with individual situations, financial situations, and property situations. Now, are there things in the handbook that we rely on? Absolutely. But the thing that I love about the VA home loan, and this is where most people fail, is the VA gives us a lot of area, a lot of gray area to operate in, a lot of nuance. Okay. If you don't understand nuances by being a practitioner of this benefit, you're not going to know how to handle it. It doesn't make you a bad person. But I'm going to tell you this right now, that if you came to me today and said, hey man, I've got a client that wants to do a USDA loan, my only response would be hard pass. I haven't done an FHA loan in 10 years. When I tell you that I do, this is it. I did 4 conventional loans last year out of 104 transactions. And those 4 conventional loans were for veterans buying investment properties. That's it. I live here. And I live here for one reason. I shared this with Caleb before everybody came on. And it's important to know this because there's a human side of this business too, y'all. Right? Is that I've watched my own family not use the VA home loan. I've watched my own family struggle mentally. I've watched my family not apply for disability benefits, right? We're here to provide resources to our community. The VA home loan is a resource, but it's also mental health resources. It's disability resources. It's everything that encompasses their life cycle. That's what I do. And it's important that when we're building out these things and using this benefit, it's not for selfish ambition. I don't need to close another loan. I need to help another person that's going to use this benefit to create financial freedom. Okay. I'm going to share this with you. Man, I'm thinking all kinds of things as we're talking. I'm going to share this with you too. Okay. You're in luck. As I created a worksheet for young military that we can walk them through how to use this benefit as they travel through their military careers and to accumulate over $1 million in net equity by the time they retire. I will show you the formula on how to do it. It's amazing. That is what we don't talk about, right? We have guidelines. We have all those things. I love this. But let's figure out how together we change the narrative for them, not for us. They don't get paid a whole lot, y'all. I mean, it's pathetic, to be honest with you. I was telling Caleb, my brother-in-law stationed at Fort Bragg. I know what he makes. I also know that he's been on 8 combat deployments. Right? He missed literally half of my oldest niece's life being on a deployment. He deserves better. That has to come from us. The military's not going to do it. That's us. It's up to us whether we like it or not, y'all. And that's what I love about it, though. Challenge me. Let's do it. Right? All right. So just some scripts for you. What if the listing agent says, well, appraisals come in low? Right? Well, here's some rebuttal for you. Right? We have to be able to rebut in real time. Okay? It's vitally important. That scripting practice, people like, I'm dying. It matters, y'all. I'm telling you, if you can respond off the cuff, think about how they view you then. Oh, this person knows what the hell they're doing. That's the only outcome.
To build authority.
Absolutely. We got to build authority in this noisy space that we're in now. It's our job to build authority. So I was telling Caleb, this is a crazy stat. When I first got in this business, VA home loans represented 1% of the overall market share. 1%. Now we're at 14%. That's a testament to you, to people like me, that the things that we're doing in our communities, but we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a long way to go. And I'm going to share this with you. This is the recap. I'll get this information to you. This is a QR code. If you guys want to schedule some time with me to talk through, individual things for your business, your community, influence, leverage, education, resources, all that, that's what I'm here to do. Obviously, I'd love to help your veteran buyers too. But I have so much crap that I have developed and spent money on because I've believed to hand all these things to you to hand to your clients. Because this go ahead.
But I think passion doesn't even hit the tip of the iceberg of what you're throwing at us right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell that every single thing you're saying is built with the mindset of how we can put our military first. You know what I'm saying? And especially in this business, it is tough to find very genuine people.
Oh, God, yeah. No, I agree. You have to be
tough.
picky. You really do. I mean, I'm like, if what I think this business is when it comes to not just veterans and dealing with the VA home loan, but maybe you love first-time home buyers. Maybe you have that specialization. Maybe you have that lender that specializes in those things, or rural properties, or investors, DSCR, and bank statements, and all those crazy non-QM programs, right? I love all that. But that doesn't mean everybody can be everything to everybody all the time. You cannot do that. There's not enough capacity between your ears to retain all of that information. I work for a company, Waterstone, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of a bank. So I'm licensed in 48 states. I can do business all over the country. Okay. Imagine trying to do business in all these communities with literally, we have 1,100 different loan products, y'all. 1,100. Can you imagine? No, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast.
Oh, yeah. Master of none at that point.
Absolutely. So if you're building a business or you're trying to recreate things for yourself, and think about those specializations that exist that are required to help those people. Just like you said, I had somebody call me the other day about a USDA loan in Washington State. And I said, man, as much as I would love to help you, I am not the best equipped person to do it. I would literally probably screw this thing up, and I will not burn a relationship over money. Ever. Never, ever. Okay. So one thing I want to say, and obviously Caleb's point, you can see how passionate I am about this stuff, because it's literally what kept me in this business this long. I don't get along with most people, frankly. I have a very A-type, direct personality type. I was raised in a veteran household. Both my grandfathers are World War II vets. My dad's a Vietnam vet. Older brother was in Desert Shield, and he had 7 combat deployments after that. This is the environment that I was raised in. My wife is the loving, nurturing people pleaser that God put in my life because he knew that I'm not that. Yeah. Right? You got the yin and the yang. But that's why I connect with military families. I'm straightforward. There's no fluff, super direct. Hey, how do we get from point A to point B? Let's go.
Exactly.
Right?
And that builds rapport so much quicker with these military personnel. Just being very straightforward.
Never had anybody say, you know what? Don't talk to me that way. Yeah. Never. And what I say to them is like, hey, you guys ready for real talk? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Because my goal is to get you there. You got a goal? My job is to get you there. Right? So the one thing that I'll leave you with, and I'll turn it back over to Caleb, you can finish up, but I had a really good friend of mine who spent about 12 years in the SEAL teams. He got in the mortgage business when he got off active duty. He lives in San Diego. One of my good friends. And he said something to me about probably 10 years ago that really kind of flipped the switch for me, because we all have off days. We all have days we don't want to roll out of bed. We all have days that we just want to, cash it in and do whatever we need to do. I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things. Okay. I believe the hustle culture is a cancer. So I believe that you be able to work, but also work to build the life that you want. But when it comes to military families, this is what I want you to realize, is that when I get up and I'm like, man, I don't want to go to the office today. I just want to sit around, watch TV, whatever, play with my bulldogs. If I don't go out and teach classes like this for you guys, or create resources, or I'm traveling and teaching places all over the country, which I love, if I don't give you the proper information or connect with these military families, then if they go down the street and get helped by one of those lenders that none of us like, and they get screwed, it's my fault. That's the way I see it. God built my shoulders a certain way. Okay. Not everybody's built for that, and that's okay. Don't
Amen.
think you have to be.
Mhm.
But one thing that I implore you to do is that bring people into your ecosystem who provide value in a way that you cannot or do not provide for yourself. That's it.
I love that. I love it. Jason, thank you so much, man. I do want to wrap it up with a couple
Yep.
of questions. Guys, if y'all have any Q&A, drop them in the chat and we'll
Yep.
go into it real quick. So,
Absolutely.
Jason, really, like, if you could change one thing about how agents work with VA buyers, what would you say it is?
I think, for the most part, if I look at it as a whole, not specifically to some of y'all, but I look at as a whole, I would like to see people get more granular with certain questions with military families or veteran families and understand their life cycle, right? Because certain things that apply to veteran and military families are not going to apply to the civilian world. And I can say that because I am one.
Right.
Right. And so if you've got a veteran family, I mean, I've had people not use their VA loan because they didn't even get asked if they were eligible. Work that into your buyer consult. Don't know if that sounds crazy, but maybe you get a hold of a surviving spouse that doesn't know that they're eligible. Maybe you get a hold of somebody who was in the National Guard who doesn't understand entitlement or eligibility for that buyer set. It's unique. So asking better questions of, especially, here's a good one. Are you both going to be present for closing? Very simple question. But think about all the ways that can go if you don't ask that question. Maybe they need a power of attorney.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's waiting to the 11th hour to get a POA. You know how that goes, right? Now we're delaying closings. Maybe they're overseas and we got to get her signed. Maybe the title company won't fund on scanned copies and all these different things this can go just by asking one simple question. So I wish that we could formulate like, hey, this is a buyer's agent responsibility to ask these veteran buyers these questions. Those can be passed on to the lender. We're reaffirming it in our loan consultation that we do, and we're all on the same page. We eliminate so many problems by communication.
And it's so easy. And people act like it's the hardest thing in the world. Either, it's one thing to pick up the phone. It's one thing to send an email or a text. Like there are so many ways to get that question or get that information conveyed. And I feel like people are allergic to it almost.
They are, and they're scared of it. And some of them do it because they're lazy.
Yeah.
Some of them do it because they just don't know.
Yeah.
So I think we have a responsibility to go out there and say, hey, do you understand this? How can we make the industry better? I'm trying to make me better too.
Yeah.
But I spend my time with you guys and I do the things that I do because I want to try to make this industry a better place for veterans to come into this ecosystem where they feel safe.
Exactly. So what would you say, Jason, are some trends that you're watching right now that could significantly impact military buyers over the next 12 months?
So the first thing on my head and on the top of my head.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a touchy subject for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'll get into the context in just a second. But when people are the gurus that are out there preaching and teaching and selling classes, talking about people how to house hack and do all these things that may seem a little bit out of the norm, maybe a little bit edgy as far as the guidelines are concerned, but also a lot of it has to do with how they market it. Yeah. I saw one the other day. Hey, I'm going to teach you how to buy 3 rental properties with your VA loan. Now, we may understand that context because we do this every day. They don't. Put yourself in the average veteran's seat and how they perceive that statement. Okay? It's misleading as hell.
Yeah.
But here's the context that people aren't aware of. The VA is aware of people doing that. And I'm going to give you this context to how a guideline changed because of this. Okay. So are y'all all aware that a couple years ago in December, they changed the guideline on collections? That if you have an open collection that's not a charge off, we are required to consider 5% of the collection balance in the DTI and residual. Okay. That mirrors the FHA requirement.
Okay.
So you want to know how that came about? It came about because too many lenders, too many underwriters, too many realtors were calling the VA Regional Loan Center and going, hey, this isn't real clear in the handbook. Can you clear this up for me? Guess what they did? Okay, we're going to make it real clear because you're not capable of learning how we do this. So we're going to make it crystal clear for you. The prior guidelines, like, hey, if it's in the last 12 months, consider it in the overall, but there's no requirement that you have to. They left it up to the underwriter to say, hey, this guy's situation makes sense. We're not going to apply that here, but oh, this guy is being a deadbeat. We're going to apply it here.
Yeah.
That judgment is now out the window. Because people couldn't get it through their thick skulls on how this is supposed to work. This whole other thing is the exact same thing. Because I can tell you with 100% certainty that they are having conversations about this type of thing in the central office in DC. It's on their radar. This benefit was not designed to build a rental portfolio. What it's designed to do is allow people to leverage their entitlement to be able to do those things. Now, we can teach people to buy duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and I love that strategy. But you have to be honest about what it is and how it's structured.
Right.
Okay. The second thing in that is, how many times have you heard people say, oh, well, you got to live in it for 12 months?
It needs to be.
VA has no rule on a 12-month occupancy requirement. None. It is nowhere in the handbook anywhere. That
only that you have to move in, right? That's the only requirement.
You do have to move in. So I'm going to give you a prime example of one we literally have right in the Florida Panhandle. Guy just came back from overseas, Middle East, on a contracting assignment. Wants to buy a duplex in the Florida Panhandle. It is occupied. 2 tenants. No way to break the leases in their current lease agreement. Okay. Leases aren't up until November. He was told by 4 different lenders he could not do that because he couldn't occupy within 60 days. That is not what the handbook says. Chapter 3, Section 5A says any defined date will allow you to occupy that within 12 months. We took his lease agreement that showed he didn't have a recourse to bust the lease. We took a letter of explanation that he's going to move into it. Question asked and answered. Move on.
Really?
100%.
That's fire. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. That one right there, Jason, because everybody, and Caleb can get me on this one. Everyone says that 60 days. Everyone in this area says that.
Go read chapter 3, section 5.
Man, I'm about to go look, about to be my VA Bible. Look.
That is crazy. I did not know that at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's not even taking into account if he had a spouse that could occupy or dependent children or anything like that.
Yeah.
So the rules are there, and those rules are pretty black and white. Yeah. So think about it like this: active military for you guys around Fort Bragg, okay, or any active duty station. Let's say they're on an overseas assignment, they're PCS, that's a temporary duty assignment. Okay. Say they're not due back for 8 months. Well, if they have orders or the intent, Section J of their order set says time frame, right? We use that as that indicator of when they're coming back. That's a government document. We can't refute that, right?
That makes sense.
Same thing if they're a veteran. This guy's not active military. We have an actual defined date with the lease agreement. Question asked and answered.
Okay. So, Jason, you just dropped a bomb on me. I'm not going to lie. So let me go ahead and wrap this up for us.
Yep.
All right. So Jason, through all your experience and everything like that, not just talking about agents, but just working with military personnel as a whole, what would you say someone would, I would say, let me see how I can phrase this, a key defining characteristic someone is going to need to have if they plan on specializing in this part of real estate? The VA military.
Number one at the top of the list forever and always will be authenticity.
Okay.
You have to possess that personality trait, y'all. They will see through your bullshit in about 2 seconds. I'm telling you. That salesy, I'm trying to take advantage of you thing. I'm trying to talk about things that I don't really know what I'm talking about. That stuff is so easy to spot.
Yeah.
Right? So here's, as the son and the dependent of people who have struggled mentally, right? My dad has night terror still from Vietnam. My dad and my stepmother have not slept in the same bed in 25 years. Because of his night terrors.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say to this, is that they have earned the right to this benefit. They've earned the right for you to help them. They're okay with you making money, y'all. They make money too. But if you don't put their needs first and you're authentic in the way you approach your content, your classes, your buyer consults, how you help them, they will punch you in about 3 seconds. So be authentic. That is the most important thing in this entire process.
Jason, man, thank you. Because to say you drop gems, you drop diamonds. Okay. And I appreciate you, man. We're going to have to cook up.
So I am going to, Caleb, I'm going to send these to you
Yeah.
today before into business. I'm going to send you a copy of the slides.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm going to send you the VA buyer's handbook.
Okay.
I'm going
Awesome.
to send you the valuation guide that goes along with it.
Please, please.
And then I'm going to send you that blank freedom formula. Okay. If you guys want to have another one-off individually, we can talk about that, kind of how I work that into my buyer consults.
Right.
I'm actually hosting a consumer class in July where it's based around this whole freedom formula thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll get you all that information. We can do them for your local community. We can do them in person, whatever you want.
Too easy.
Don't forget the Canva.
And I will send you all, I'm going to send you the Canva links to all of those.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can access it. Just make a copy.
All right.
There you go.
So when Jason does that, when we get this uploaded to YouTube, it should be this evening or first thing tomorrow, we will include those links, not only in the post, but also in the YouTube as well. So you can access it on both areas. Okay. Vet Homes. I'll see if I can send it to your email address. I'll see if I can send it. I'll get it all together. Let me go ahead and, do you have a YouTube link? Oh, Pam's asking us. My bad, Pam. Yeah, I got you. Hold on 1 second. But Jason, thank you so much, man. Taking the time to really come and bring the heat too. Not just do a simple presentation, but actually put your own story into it and really show, the importance of being able to step up and serve those who have served.
Yeah.
Like,
I appreciate the opportunity, man. I could do this every day. And if you guys need me, you want to chat with me, you can follow me on social media. Just check me out on Facebook, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel under VA Loan Boss. That QR code on the screen, you can set appointments with me. We can have a chat. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
All right, guys. I dropped Jason's socials into the chat as well as the chapter 12 of the VA guideline. I'm throwing the YouTube that this will be uploaded to, and all of our past trainings were uploaded to. Reminder, guys, we do this every single week now, okay, here in the Google Meet. All right. Another big thing that I want to push on you guys is if y'all have any ideas or thoughts or situation scenarios, what do y'all want to learn more about? Okay. Because this is why we're doing this. Okay. Yeah. If you feel you have the experience to talk about something, let's bring you on. Let's share the story. Let's share the experience so we can all win. Okay.
I've got lots more classes, y'all. So whatever y'all want to know, let's get it. I'm in.
And Jason, I'm going to take you up on that.
Let's do it.
I promise you that. All right. I'm seeing some
Jason, VA multifamily.
We definitely need that.
I got it. Let's do it.
Well, guys, y'all have a blessed one. Let's close some deals. Jason, thank you again, brother.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
Y'all have a blessed.
Thank you.
And for those that drop their email address, I have got the email addresses. And cool. Got you, Matt. Y'all take it easy.
You too, buddy. Have a great day.
Got you, Wilma. Got you, Trinette. Got you, Christy. All right, y'all have a great one.